Hello, are you studying for your state insurance test? Well, in today's video, we're going to cover risk, peril, hazard. We're going to find out what they mean and how they might show up on your test. Let's get started. All right, welcome back. So this concept, risk, peril, hazard, definitely shows up on the test, whether you're talking about the life, health tests, insurance tests, or the property casualty, general lines, personal lines insurance test, because this is a basic concept and you could expect to see 1, 2, maybe 3 questions on these concepts on your test. So make sure you got a good handle on that and you're ready for those questions. So let's start with risk. What is risk? Risk just simply means something that could happen. It's an uncertainty regarding something that could cause a financial loss. The simple version is chance. Risk is just a chance. Risk is just a chance that something bad could happen. And in everything we do every day, there's always this risk or chance that something bad could happen that would cause us a financial loss. Now, risk is one of those weird words like the word tomorrow. Because what? Because tomorrow never gets here. When tomorrow does get here, we give it a different name. We call it today. Well, risk is something that could happen but never does. Because if it does happen, we give it a different name. We call it a peril. So risk just means something that could happen. Now, it turns out that there's 2 types of risk. Now, this one shows up in the test as well. Make sure you got this down. So you have speculative risk and pure risk. And only pure risk is insurable. Now, what's the difference? Well, speculative risk is where there's a chance for both loss or gain, right? Pure risk, there's only a chance of loss. There's no chance of gain. So let me ask you this. Here's an example. Can you get a homeowner's policy on your house in case your house burns down so you can get some money back from the insurance company? Can you do that? And the answer is absolutely, because that would be a pure risk. Your house burning down, you're not coming out ahead on that deal. You're not going to profit from that. But let me ask you this. Could you get a homeowner's policy on your neighbor's house so that if your neighbor's house burns down, you could get some money from the insurance company? Can you do that? And the answer is absolutely not, because that would be a speculative risk. There you have a chance of gain. And the insurance company is not going to let you do that. Because what? One of the basic concepts of insurance is that you cannot profit from insurance. But imagine if they allowed you to do that. What would it be like? Well, there'd be columns of smoke across the horizon right now. People go, man, I can't believe it. My neighbor's house burnt down again. 3rd time this year. Now, where's my money? So, 2 types of risk, speculative and pure, and only pure risk is insurable. Now, as we said, if that risk thing happens, now it's a peril. And what is the peril? Peril is the bad thing that happens. A peril is, this is an important word, the cause of the loss. Now, if you get a question on the state test about peril, most likely the correct answer is going to have the word cause in the answer. So the peril is the cause of the loss. It's the thing that causes the financial loss. That would be the fire, the hurricane, the tornado, the car accident, the heart attack, the medical issue. It's the thing that causes the financial loss. So let me give you some examples. I used to live in South Florida. There we had hurricanes all the time. The fact that I lived there means I have what? I have a risk. Now, if the hurricane shows up, now it's no longer a risk. Now it's a peril. But it's only a peril if it what? Causes a loss, right? So my house is not damaged in the hurricane. I only had risk. My neighbor's house is damaged in a hurricane. They had a peril. Another example, car, right? So as soon as you buy a brand new car, you have a what? You have a risk. Now, if the car gets into an accident, that accident is the peril. So what is a hazard? A hazard is something that increases the chance of the loss. It increases the chance of that bad thing happening. Getting back to our example of the car. So we have a what? As soon as you own the car, you have a risk. Car gets into an accident, that's a peril. So what would be a hazard? That would be things like driving on icy roads, driving while intoxicated. And of course, I know none of you would have a problem with this, but somebody else driving while texting. I know all you guys, you can text and drive, no big deal. It's those other guys that are texting that's a problem. But that would be, those other people would be a hazard for them. and that could cause you to have the accident, would increase the chance of that accident happening. Now, it turns out there are 3 types of hazards: physical, moral, and morale. Now, some of you haven't taken this test. You're not used to this yet. On this test, quite often you'll see a question that'll say all the following except, which means you're what? You're looking for the one false answer, not the one true answer. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a switch around for some of you. You got to get used to that by doing lots of practice questions. So there's 3 types of hazards: physical, moral, and morale. And with this group of 3 types of hazards, it is really normal on the test for them to say all of the following except. So they'll throw those 3, physical, moral, and morale. Then they're going to throw some 4th thing in there, and you've got to figure out which one's the odd duck. Now, they do occasionally ask about these individually, so let's talk about that. So you have physical hazard. That would be some sort of physical condition you might have, like on the life and health side, blindness, diabetes, heart problems. On the property casualty side, a sidewalk that hasn't been scraped the snow off of, a deck with a nail sticking up that somebody might trip on. These would be physical hazards. Moral hazards, what are those? Moral hazards are tendencies that people have. Things like alcoholism, drug addiction, dishonesty, or theft. But the one I want you to remember is morale hazard. Now, morale hazard is indifference. It's an attitude or state of mind. And the most common example we see in questions is driving recklessly. Now, another example, I'll show you one in a second, is going out in a thunderstorm or not locking your car doors. But the most often what I hear about on the test is that driving recklessly. In other words, if you get a question on the test about driving recklessly, you know that the correct answer is going to be what? Morale hazard, the one with the E. Got it? All right, let's take a look at a question so we can kind of figure out what we might see in a question on the test. Here's the question. Sam goes out in a thunderstorm to take pictures. Sam represents what type of hazard? Well, this going out in a thunderstorm is probably not a tendency, unless he goes out in every single thunderstorm. But going out in a thunderstorm probably is indifference. That's probably morale hazard. So that wraps up that concept. Now, if there's any other subjects that we can help you with to get you ready for that state test, please check out our other videos. We've got new ones coming out all the time. Also, if you felt like you got some value out of that video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and if you'd like, hit that notification bell. That way you'll see the new videos or be notified when they come out. Also, be sure to check out our website, mortonschools.com, and there we have online classes, live classes, review classes, practice questions for any of the states, and we can help you get ready to pass that test. Anything with insurance, securities, we're the best solution. Appreciate you joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.